So you found a space, designed a garden. The only thing left now is to build it. That only takes a day.
Building a garden in a day can seem daunting, overwhelming, maybe even a little bit crazy. But it's actually really manageable if you break it down into pieces.
So we're here today to help you guys build the pollinator garden that you've been planning with Miss Nakia.
The first step is getting your materials together.
Come on, let's go.
We're gonna move bricks. All in one pile, please.
Make sure you have all their materials ready so that once things get started, that momentum doesn't stop. Based on whatever design you've come up with, measure it out, spray paint outlines, put stakes in so that everyone knows where the garden's going to be built. After you measure out the garden, we like to put cardboard down to help prevent any weeds from growing. It's easily accessible and it's biodegradable, so it ends up being good for the soil. And also the worms, turns out, they really like it.
With the cardboard laid out, it's time to build up.
The first layer of stones is important because that's your last chance to make sure that your beds are exactly the shape, size, location that you want them to be. So it's great to put the first layer and then step back.
That looks fantastic, guys. Is that what you had in mind?
Nothing's set in stone, right? This is a good time to adjust anything you may not have considered while planning your garden, like wheelchair accessibility.
Actually, our entranceways are a little narrow. So what we're gonna do before we put the next layer on is we're gonna take out 2 stones on each side and bring this over.
And once those stones are all laid out, it's time to fill up the beds. A mix of topsoil and compost is nice, nutritious. Fill it up, be generous with it, and get it all packed in place.
We're finally ready for the plants, but we're not planting just yet.
The best thing to do is lay them all out before you start planting and walk through and try to imagine what the garden's gonna look like in a few months.
That's a goldenrod. These are gonna grow really tall. So what we could do is we could stick them on the edge somewhere so that they'll be able to hang over when they grow.
Okay.
You've done a great job building the bed, looks fantastic. What I'd like you to do is come by and make sure that each of the plants are about 1 foot away from each other. If the plants are too close to each other, then they don't have enough room to grow, and they're not gonna be their bushiest, most beautiful selves.
But these plants don't plant themselves.
To the stones? Yep.
So you're gonna go ahead, make a hole that is as deep as the plant itself, and maybe even a little wider.
Okay.
Then you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna put just a sprinkle of fertilizer. We use organic fertilizer. It's made from organic materials like bones and blood and chocolate. Delicious instead of chemicals. Right. So you're gonna take your plant. Okay, you're gonna do that. You're gonna put that like that so that you're not grabbing it. If you have roots coming out, you're gonna rip those out, and then you're gonna squish the top until it comes off relatively easily. Then you're gonna see what? Roots. Now these roots are just gonna keep going in circles unless I open it up. And I'm gonna rip open the bottom. Not too much, but don't be gentle either. So you got it? Then you're gonna take the plant. Look at that, I'm still not grabbing the top. I'm not pulling at it, right? So you're gonna grab it like that, put it back in the hole, cover it up, right? Push down a little bit, good to go.
Plant away. The mulch that comes next is not just for decoration.
Mulch for us is kind of like a blanket that makes everything look really nice and put together, but also keeps weeds from growing. It keeps soil moist longer, so you have to do less watering. And I particularly like the way it smells.
A nice 2 to 4 inches of mulch and a good watering goes a long way for your new garden. Looking good, but you're not done yet.
Signage is one of the most important parts of a garden because you want people to get an idea of what's going on in the space.
Not only do we want our gardens to attract pollinators, we also want it to attract people.
The first set of signs should be inviting signs, and these are things that let people know that it's okay to come into a garden. The second kind of sign is an informative sign. What kind of garden do you have? If you have a pollinator garden, let people know why it's a pollinator garden. What are the names of certain plants? What kind of insects or other pollinators want to come visit? And then finally, inspiring signs. Once to get people really excited, really happy about the garden, that's the kind of sign you want. The signs are one of the many tools that you have to getting people to come back over and over again.
Who else is going to water, weed, and with some gardens, harvest and eat all of the hard work? Ultimately, your new garden is really a bit of nature. It's going to feed pollinators, filter rainwater, even clean some air. This is nature on a small scale, but with big impacts.
Building a garden in a day is a fantastic, amazing thing. If you've got the right plan, the right tools, the right group of people, and hopefully a fantastic day, you'll build something amazing and everyone will be empowered by what they were able to do together. And then the last final step is to have some really good food around and just celebrate the awesomeness of what you guys did.
And really, the awesomeness has just begun.